Hello everybody, my name is James Davies and welcome to Photo Chat Vlog on YouTube. I wanted to check in and do a little update on some of my photography activity, because we're getting over halfway through the year now, and though you haven't seen much here, lots has been going on. I've been shooting quite a lot of film, and I started off the year digging out an old friend who I haven't used in a couple of years, the Konica Big Mini. So as you'll see if you watched my review video from last year, I realised recently that some of my cameras are getting older and are developing faults like light leaks and so on. And I wanted to try out something small and compact that I'd already got without searching to buy yet another new camera. It's easy when you are a collector of cameras and when cameras can be obtained cheaply to just keep on acquiring more and more of them. Now there's nothing wrong with having a collection of course, but when that means you're really only using each of them very sparingly, it does seem a bit silly to go searching for a replacement for a leaky Olympus Mu 2 when really you've got something equally fun to try already in your collection. So I dug out the Konica Big Mini earlier in the year and I shot some Fuji Neopan 400 CN in it. I don't think I've discussed this film before. It's a chromogenic black and white film made by Fuji. I spotted it in a local camera shop last year and I bought 3 rolls of it, and I've shot 2 so far. The Big Mini turned out to be a great little camera to use. Very much like a Mu 2 in terms of convenience, although it's still not quite as small and inconspicuous as the Mu, but it's beautifully designed and it works great. That said, there is a catch. As I've mentioned before, cameras develop problems, and in this case, whilst the Big Mini seems mercifully free of light leaks, its flash doesn't work, which is something I discovered by accident. Now I'm not much of a fan of flash photography, so I was trying to take pictures as much as I could without using the flash. And one of the places that I took some pictures was in an art exhibition, where I was trying to be inconspicuous. Photography wasn't banned there, but I find that flash photography in these kind of places is really annoying to other visitors, and most modern smartphones these days can cope with low light really well, so flashes going off seem quite a rare thing these days. Anyway, while I was shooting in this gallery where the light was really low, I spotted that the flash didn't seem to work. Now that's not a big deal when you're not a fan of flash photography, but again, it is a case that 20 or 30 years on from when they're being made, these cool vintage analog cameras now might have their faults, and when nobody's really making new ones, you've got to watch out with what you're doing with the hobby. Elsewhere, I also shot some of the 400 CN in my EOS 500, which is a lovely camera to use, and in the days in the spring when it was still quite dark early at night, I did some experiments with light painting with my mate Rob. He was shooting digital and I was shooting on film. And as you can see here, I've got some good examples of that going on. These were shot using my OM10 and some old Fuji Natura 1600 that I had in my stash. Rob and I also took a trip to Birmingham during the daytime one weekend to do some street photography back in April. But I was shooting 100 ASA Kodak T-Max on that trip, actual silver-based black and white film, and I haven't got that processed yet. So that may well end up being some really slow photography, since I'm not planning on any real genuine black and white photography processing just yet. I might have to shoot another couple of rolls to get me in the mood, and in fact I think I might still have a roll of Ferrania P30 somewhere. Now it was in May when I produced the previous episode of Photo Chat Vlog, where I compared my Olympus Acura Zoom 80 and my Pentax Espio, and it inspired me to start shooting with those cameras again. Now ironically, although I said that the Olympus was the better camera out of the two, I chose to go out with the Espio. However, the annoying thing was that in that video I was demonstrating the fact that it had a date back, and because of that I left it switched on when I started shooting, and I only realised this halfway through a roll of Kodak Gold film, which was expired in 2017. So I not only realised that the date back was on, but I realised it was also saying some random date from 1987, and that was a problem. I switched it off and I took some more pictures, but the idea of the date back being on was annoying me, and I thought, what can I do with a film like that? And of course, well, it's a good excuse for a double exposure project. And who did I want to do double exposures with? Well, good old Denise out there in Wichita in Kansas. So I asked her if she wanted to do it, and she said yes, and I sent the roll off to her, and we had good fun collaborating. Denise did the developing on these, and she's guardian of the negatives now, but we both have equal rights over the images, and you can see lots of them already on her Instagram, since she's not a slow coach like me. To get over the date back mistake, I immediately put another film in the Espio, and I made sure that I went out and took the same kind of pictures that I wanted to in the first place. Now interestingly, what I put in there was a roll of Colorama 400, which is a film I've never heard of before and will probably never see again. My friend Mark was clearing up either his mum's house or his own place, and he's long given up analogue photography. So he asked me if I wanted the film, and of course I did. Now there was no date on it, but I know I acquired it from Mark at least 3 years ago, and by the look of the images they are showing some really classic expired film characteristics, some lovely muted colours. And I also continued with the Big Mini, and I got some really interesting effects from what was evidently a very, very expired roll of Fuji 1600 Super HG, which was part of a stash of expired films I got from a trip to the States a few years ago. I was out camping with friends on the south coast of England when I took some of these pictures, and it's a real roll of the dice with some of them where the colours are very strange. I wonder, because this is the Big Mini where the flash doesn't work, if this is why some of these pictures look weird, because the camera was expecting the flash to come on and it didn't, and it ended up being underexposed for that reason. Who knows? I probably won't get another roll of super expired Super HG, so maybe I will never know. I also put a roll of Imation Color 100 film through the Big Mini, which is again a vintage expired film. This one's pretty good, and I got some nice pictures with that. And I shot a roll of Konica 200VX in the Pentax SBO, and that's got this wonderful pink cast to it. I've spoken about that in previous videos, and it's just a really tasty film. So that's it right now for what I've been up to this year. On my Flickr pages, I'm currently posting pictures from a trip that I made last year to Hamburg in Germany, but I'm not currently very inspired by sitting in front of the computer, so I'm quite behind on my social media sharing on Instagram and Flickr. I'm not posting every day, and sometimes I'm not even posting every week. That's just one of those things, I'm afraid. That is just the way it is. And if my audience numbers suffer, so be it. I'm not a professional, this is not my life, and though I like it when I interact with people through this stuff, I've been on the planet long enough to not be that bothered if it doesn't happen all the time. I would like to get back in the game with it, of course, getting into a routine, because it is nice to share the pictures, and it is nice to review the pictures and look back on what you've done. But equally, and it's very much a buzz phrase at the moment, self-care is important, and if I'm not feeling something, I don't see any reason to really thrash myself and make myself do it, if it's just not working for me right now. So if you are following me on Flickr or Instagram and miss all that slow photography, bear with me while I get my mojo back in that regard. There is currently not a loaded film camera in my life. I'm not doing anything much this weekend, so I'm unlikely to get one loaded up right now. But soon, I'll be making a couple of trips away, and that I think will be reason enough to get some cameras and films loaded back up again. I've got some stuff in my sights. Literally right now I can see an old roll of film that I red scaled a couple of years ago, so that'll be an interesting thing to try. I could try that in the Olympus Acura Zoom 80, for example. I may do some more experiments with the Konica Big Mini. I may shoot some more genuine black and white silver-based film. There's a lot of opportunities, and a lot to be excited about. And just because I take my time sharing it with people, it doesn't mean that it makes my process any less exciting. So with that, I will say farewell. I hope everything's good with you wherever you are in the world, and I hope if you like this video and want to reach out, you'll leave me a comment. If you like this video and you want to watch some other ones and subscribe to my channel, well, that'll be great too. Until then, take care, and I will see you in the next episode of Photo Chat Vlog.